CEO Money is sponsored by WF News 1 Incorporated. Views and opinions heard on CEO Money are not necessarily the opinion of this station or its management. Material on this program is intended for general information only and should not be taken as specific investment, tax, or legal advice.
Welcome to CEO Money, with your hosts Michael Yorba and Mervyn Price interviewing private and publicly traded industry titans. It's a fast-paced show focusing on CEO achievement stories, industry breakthroughs, disruptive technology, and emerging growth companies. CEO Money keeps you ahead of the curve on private and public equity trends you can't get anywhere else. We deliver tomorrow's trade today. And now, here's your hosts, Michael Yorba and Mervyn Price.
Welcome to CEO Money. I'm Michael Yorba.
And I'm Mervyn Price.
All right, we've got quite the lineup for you, but first we're going to bring on an old buddy of mine that gave me a start in the IPTV business broadcast industry, Steve Kanaval. He is a portfolio manager, a writer, a market analyst, but he publishes daily for multiple portals in the volatile investment tiers. He's a writer, researcher, investor focusing on pure play investments in crowdfunding, private placement, public companies. Steve's team is trading and investing in the growing digital currency markets. He's tracking companies affected by the growth in cryptocurrencies, and Steve's long-only fund invests in trading and mining and in personal mining, in team mining and personal mining. Steve, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Michael. Mervyn, gentlemen, how are you?
Very well, thank you, Steve. Nice to hear you again.
Nice to be on the show. Michael, how are you?
I'm good. I'm glad you're here. I'm so happy to, as they say, like you coined the term with me first, putting the band back together. You know, you've got a far more in-depth background than just what I mentioned. Give our audience a flavor for the background, and then I want to get into what you're doing now and what you're planning on doing in the future.
Well, I've been chasing volatile assets really since high school. I really stumbled on it. My neighbor was a pork belly trader, and I wound up at the Board of Trade and Mercantile Exchange in Chicago, and I got interested in the futures market when I was in college, and so I followed it through there. I worked on the floor really when they introduced the S&P 500 in the currencies and the futures markets in the 80s. I worked for a hedge fund in the 90s, and I got into the television and production content side. Michael, you and I really did in the 2000s, and I'm a bug flying into the light of interesting volatile things.
Yeah, you definitely are. You're always on the cutting edge of what's happening next. Let's talk about some of these things. You're into cryptocurrencies, so let's talk about that if you want to start there, or the growth of the derivative markets since 1980 and internet stocks in the 90s and then digital currencies today.
Well, there's a similarity between the three, and the emerging markets have incredible growth ramps. We're experiencing the growth ramp from the internet now in our homes and your phones and the portability. Those were dreams in the 1990s, where stocks and multiples of technology stocks, some of them believable, some of them not. I think the similarity really along the line, digital currency is a paradigm shift in the way that we will spend money and barter back and forth, and getting away from fiat currency or cash. Mike, I don't think we're going to be driving cars. I don't think we're going to have cash in our pockets. I think the world is a digital world. It's on the way, to be that. Most people know about Bitcoin, or they've heard a little bit about Bitcoin. But really, there are 860 digital currencies, and we could spend hours and hours on it. But my suggestion is, learn about digital currencies. They're going to be part of your life.
Blockchain. Everybody's heard the term. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people are starting to hear the term. What is it? Tell the audience
It's a telescope backward to be able to see who you traded with and have a very simple, transparent way to know who you traded with. If you think about it, stocks are still in an archaic, in an archaic clearing fashion with, T+2 or T+3 to get your money out of the stock market, and that has to do with the clearing mechanism. Blockchain will fix all of that, and it's a peer-to-peer, secure way to telescope backward to see who you did a trade with, no matter how long it was. It will revolutionize the way that trades are cleared, and that's really how I got interested in digital currencies, because we'd been long CME and exchange stocks from the days of owning our seats, and we thought the only natural hedge was to be long Bitcoin. This was back in 2015. And they've exploded and have adoption now, and it's interesting. The world is changing, and I'm always amazed that people that don't know anything about digital currencies, because you can use a Bitcoin to buy an airline ticket on Amazon, and there are Bitcoin ATMs side by side with the Fifth Third ATM.
How are you constructing your digital currency portfolio now?
Well, I think you have to, because there are 860 digital currencies. I believe another similarity is that there were that many internet stocks, and really only about 25 to 50 were impactful. You look at Amazon today; it's trading $1,000 a share. Of those, a lot of the internet stocks fell away. A lot of the digital currencies, coins, will fall away once the explosion goes through its cycle, and there will be 25 to 50. I think Bitcoin, which is currently, trading near 5,000, I don't want to give price targets, but, I think it's going to be a benchmark like the S&P 500 for global currency going forward. And, the ones right underneath that are Ethereum Classic, Dash. Go do some research. It's hard for me to look at stocks. Now, these are really volatile assets, by the way, but
right.
Stocks just seem boring now after watching these.
Well, that's kind of like the futures market back in the 20s relative to the equity markets. But let's move forward.
Yep.
Best way to leverage volatility in Bitcoin?
Probably to mine. You go out and buy a server, essentially a mining rig or box from a pool miner. They're about $4,000, and it mines 24/7, 365, and returns a partial Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever you're mining in the pool, and you get your money back and then some, and that's a low risk way to participate. Going out and buying them is a little scary because they have the implied volatility is off the charts. They move 50% in a week.
For those who don't know, what is Ethereum? And give us
Well, they have to be written on a platform. Bitcoin is a platform. Ethereum is a platform, and that is the base kind of code that you need to be able to coincide with blockchain and coordinate with the blockchain, because they're active, Mike. You go out and look and see the liquidity in a Bitcoin right now. You can go pull up a trading system, and they trade deeper than almost any equity market. The digital currency markets are larger than the small and micro cap markets in terms of total capitalization. So, to answer your question, I don't know that I'd go out and buy them without doing plenty of research, and I would stay away from anything out of the top 25 largest.
Good advice, sound advice. You started off in the pits, when they invented the S&P market, so I'm sure you understand volatility just as well, if not better than most people. We've got about a minute left, Steve, before we go. I wanted to bring out some of the writing that you do, because I want to bring you into the family here so that we can start utilizing some of these services that you provide to the public, or to the business community, excuse me.
Well, I write for equities.com. I write for plenty of portals, including Bloomberg. We will be writing on your site, Mike. I look forward to it, and educating the public about volatile assets like digital currencies and Bitcoin, and there are many periphery pieces to digital mining to make money in. You don't have to assume the risk of the coin, and I look forward to writing about those on your site for your audience.
Great. Steve, thanks for being on the show. Appreciate it.
Good to talk to you, Michael. Mervyn, have a good day.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for all your help, Steve, and thanks for taking my email earlier.
My pleasure.
All right. That is Steve Kanaval, portfolio manager, writer, market analyst, and he's going to be writing for us very soon. You've been listening to CEO Money with Michael Yorba and Mervyn Price. We'll be right back with Natalie DeMarco, president, co-founder, Tycon Partners.